If you know me, you know I love anything related with journaling. So of course, I was gonna have an open store, online store where I offer notebooks, journals, and planners. I created my first journal in a season where I was seeking outside validation. And it's just like the three things that are important to you, something that you're grateful for, something that you're proud of, something that you dream of, and something that you pray for. Something simple and effective. And then I say my planner is like having a conversation with yourself. What do you want the month to be? And then what is going on through the month? And then at the end of the month, what happened at the month? What can I improve? What made me happy? So I just love it. And then the notebooks is just to motivate others to journal as well. You can find this at butterflydreams.co. And for first time customers, you can use coupon first purchase for 15% off. Thank you so much for your support. Hope you have a blessed day. Hello and welcome to Conversations with Francy, where you will find talks about mental health, life, business, something fun, depends on the episode or the guest. I love to bring more positive vibe. Let's learn from one another and build a community of people supporting one another. I hope you enjoy this episode. Thank you for being here. Now, let's get the show started. On today's episode, we will have the pleasure to get to know Dr. Heather Browne, who is a psychotherapist, author, TEDx speaker. Today's conversation will be around emotions a lot, relationships, self care. I am so excited to get to know Dr. Heather. So let's welcome her to the show. Tell us, what is life with you?
Oh, thank you for having me. I am honored to be here. And the things that you talk about are dear and dear to my heart. That's my TEDx on compassion. That's my book.
Mm.
So I love anything that helps us learn to embrace ourselves, to embrace the people in our lives, and to really try to make an impact on this world in a way that does a positive change.
I already love you. Oh my gosh, that is so
Yay!
awesome. And yeah, tell us a little bit about your story.
So I grew up with a mom who was a paranoid schizophrenic, and
Mm.
she killed herself when I was 16. And
Oh.
living with someone who lived in a very different reality than I did gave me a very unique experience, which is none of us really understand the other person's reality. And mine was on a much broader scale, but
Mhm.
it was a truth. And I took that with me into my life and then into my practice, which is you're never going to really understand me. And I can share what I think, I can share what I feel, I can share my actions and my hopes and desires, but the most I can really do is share it and hopefully you'll respect and listen. And so the way I approach relationship is very different than most people. My focus is more so let's grow compassion. Let's grow caring for one another. Let's grow creating a safe space to be who we are. And then from that, build connection. And from that, build communication. I think we do it opposite. I think we talk a whole bunch and we decide, like, are you just like me? Oh, you're not like me. You're not like me. You're not like me. And we throw everybody out or we attack them or judge them or belittle them. And my viewpoint is if I don't agree with what you say, like, I've got a lot to learn from you. Doesn't mean I'm going to integrate it into my life, but there's other people in the world who are going to think like you think. And I feel how short-sighted of me to decide that I've got all the wisdom in the world. So I like to sit back and say, well, gosh, let me know you. Like, what was your life like? And what's made you you? And where's the beauties of you? And what can I seek? What wisdom can I seek to make mine? And where can I just hold compassion for you in those places where you and I are so different? And that's okay. And in doing that, it's a very different way of living in this world. And it's a
It
beautiful
is.
way of helping people heal because your way is your way. My way is my way. And they're both right, but they're just wrong for the other. And when you realize that, then you're not in competition. You're in sharing and you're in growing. And so people respond differently. And that's the core of what I do. I help people come from a place of compassion first. Came from something that happened in my life when I was 12. My mom thought the helicopters over the house were coming to get her. And my dad, this is my TEDx. My dad, said, "Ginny, you're crazy. They're not coming to get you." And she was in the corner shaking and shaking and shaking. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, like, "Dad, this isn't working." And so I asked myself, what does she need? And she was scared. So I grabbed my little blue blankie, my little Bambi, and I threw it over her head and I hugged her. And I just said, "Mommy, they're not going to get you. They're not going to get you." And of course, the helicopters flew off, as helicopters do. And she crawled out and looked at me, and her eyes said, "You believe me," which I didn't. But I believed her in her reality, that she believed
Mhm.
that. And I didn't need to negate that or fight that. I could just love her in a different reality than mine. And it was compassion, love, concern that helped me to do that. Now, it didn't ever take me into her reality, nor did it really completely bring her into mine, but it created a connection between the two. And though I was only 12, something inside my heart and my head said, "This is why you're here. Like, something really important for this world." And so that's been my life path. How do I care for you where you are? Whether you're homeless, whether you're a drug addict, whether you're a rapist, whether you're transgender, whether you're screaming and yelling, how do I have some compassion for you? Not that I think maybe what you're doing is right. Not that
Mhm.
I'm going to say, "Oh, you're this amazing person and I'm going to follow you," but how can I have compassion for your situation? Because you're there because of what has happened in your life, not solely what you have chosen. You know, I was born into this family, and then I had to deal with what that was. I
Mhm.
didn't completely choose the mental construct that I got out of that. And there are a whole bunch of places in my 20s where I had to realize I don't understand this reality because I was living in this really kind of bizarre one. And so there's the place of recognizing, I don't know your past. I don't know your life. So who the hell am I to say something? When you study attachment styles, all of a sudden you have a
Mhm.
very different compassion for people. When you see somebody who is more avoidant, people will say, "Oh, he's rude or he's cold or he's unloving." Not at all. They just haven't learned the beauty of connection. When you see that poor little thing who's anxious and worried and frenetic, you think, "Oh God, no, she's never been helped to feel safe." And so it gives you a whole different compassion for why someone might be as they are without judging them in the moment and feeling that you're better than them. So being able to hold a safe container for somebody as they are and say, like, "How is this for you? And is there something you'd like to change? And we can do that if you want to. We can try to, or we can just let
Mhm.
this be okay because this has been hard." I remember when I read the attachment style book, I really wanted to be secure. I really did. And if I test, I am, because I've done, a lifetime of therapy, but deep down inside, I'm insecure still. And so when I read it, I was a little ashamed. And then I thought, "Dear God, Heather, your mom was a paranoid schizophrenic. You were molested. She killed herself. You were disowned at 17, 18. You got a lot of reasons to be insecure. How about we love you in your insecurity?" And then this beautiful wave of compassion went over me. And so that's what I try to bring in my book, how to do that in your relationships. How do you speak with the heart? Speaking with the heart is my book title. How do you care for people in session? How do you care for people in the world? Are you willing to really try to love everyone? That's where I come from. And it starts with me.
I absolutely love that. My heart breaks and I can understand how you say your story. I can relate because you said some big stuff and it's like the same. Like I will say something and it's like it's part of life.
Yeah.
We don't choose our lives, but we choose how we react to it and how we handle things. I am here absolutely listening to you because I'm new to compassion. I have it for others. I will love a stranger that I just met 1 second ago that not loving myself. So I'm in a new journey where it's 3 years now of loving myself, but it's 2 years of having compassion. And it wasn't until I had a mental health evaluation that I was able to give that compassion to myself. So I'm like, whatever you have to say, I'm here to listen because
You
I
ready?
can
Let's do it.
relate
We can
in
do it right
part.
now. You want to do it right now?
The what?
You want to do some right now?
Let's do it.
Okay. So in this moment right now, are you
Okay.
feeling compassion for me?
Yes.
Okay. Let yourself feel that. Feel that compassion for me. Feel that extending out of you toward me. And as you look at me, feel it coming in to me and me receiving it and me looking back at you, grateful and thankful, and be aware of that circle. Now you're used to recognizing it going out. I'm asking you to recognize it also going in, and then also to realize it starts within you. You say, I have compassion for others, which you do beautifully. You have compassion for others. You are the compassion. And the part that gets us all boggled up is we say, about me. Well, I have to have it about me. Mm. You are compassion. And when you have compassion for others, when you realize that beautiful gift that you have to give, then you can be a part of it without it needing to be so like physical on you. It's
Mhm.
coming out of you. What is more glorious than that? Than you sharing you? You are sharing you. And then it becomes a little easier than, well, it's not really, it doesn't have to be about Heather. It doesn't have to be about Yancy. It's about, oh, we're in this together. And I'm receiving you and you're receiving me, and how glorious that is. The place where we get ourselves, I think, all botched up in self-love is that we then start to look at all the things that we don't love about ourselves. We make self-love about self, which doesn't work because love is about all. Love is about embracing. It isn't about, this fingernail. It's about every fingernail. It's about all fingernails. And so when we take away the focus from, I've got to be focused on me to love me, and we focus on, ooh, gosh, I feel love within my heart. And I feel love for you. And I feel love for your listeners. And I feel love coming through me, and I feel love around me, and I feel love coming into me, then I'm just a part of it. And I'm really not that important. What's important is what I allow to come through me and what I
Yeah.
allow myself to be filled with. So that little refinement, that little place of I am compassion and I offer compassion, take you to the races. Take you to the races. That's all you need to hold on to.
I absolutely love your mission
It's
and
a
your
beautiful one, isn't it?
passion
It's
for
so
it. I love
lovely.
it.
Yeah.
um, uh, what are 5 crucial aspects of communication? Because
Mm.
when speaking on it, and trying to get that clear message, how can we do that?
Well, there's so many, but a couple of ones that are absolutely critical is authenticity, because communication is very, very different if it's not authentic. So is it coming from what you truly believe? Is it coming from what you truly know in that moment with the awareness that it's going to change as you grow? Are you being honest? A lot of us aren't really honest. We say what we think the other person wants us to hear. We try to, move things around in places so that someone might receive it better. And then it gets really, really muddy. Is it offered with integrity? Is it offered with character? Is it offered with a powerful message that's important to share? And then, of course, the most important is love. What I like to share with my clients is there's 4 critical questions to ask before you start a conversation. If I'm going to make meatloaf, I'm not going to open up my refrigerator and just throw in applesauce and eggs and whipped cream and sauerkraut. I'm going to follow a recipe and I'm going to make certain I have everything and I've got the time and I'm going to follow it. And in the end, depending on how good I am at cooking, I have meatloaf. If we were to do that with a conversation, what are we trying to achieve? What's the goal of this conversation? What do we want out of this conversation? Because if I want you to love me at the end of the conversation, I am not going to say, oh my God, you drive me up the wall. I hate it that you do this. I'm going to be like, love, I love you. I love you. And our relationship's really important to me. And I really want to share something that makes it really hard for me to stay present with you. Can I share it? So there's the place of what are you trying to achieve? Very, very important. Then comes the place of, can I share this in a way that's going to bless the relationship or you? If not, I'm attacking, I'm belittling, I'm exploding, I'm lecturing. You're like, none of us wants that. Am I open to what you have to say? If I'm not, I'm demanding. Sometimes we're going to have a conversation where we are. Own it. I'm telling you what needs to be
Own
done.
it.
It needs to be
Yep.
done. No lip back. You're just going to do it. And then the fourth, and this one is so critical, is it a good time? If you were to ask the person you're about to have a conversation with, is this a good time for you? It respects their agenda, their calendar, their life. If they need to pull things together, they've got the time to do it. I had a couple come into my office and the wife had decided the kids should go to a different school. She'd done all this research. She'd interviewed the school. She'd gone to the schools. She was sure. She shared it with her husband when she decided that they were going to change schools. But she hadn't shared those couple of months of research with him. So when she said, I'm changing the kids' schools, he went ballistic. And when they came to my office to talk about it, I thought, oh my gosh, we do that. Because I've been thinking about it forever. When I bring it up to you, my brain acts like you've thought about it forever. But it might be the first time you've ever thought about it. And then I'm frustrated with you that you're not on the same page as me. But you have no idea what I'm talking about. So if you ask the person, when is a good time for you? To me, it emulates Jesus, who, whether you have religious beliefs or not, I think this is the most glorious message of communication. Jesus knows he's the Son of God, and he knows the message he's going to bring. No question about it. And he believes it's going to benefit everybody. He knocks on the door. He waits for you to open it. If you don't, he doesn't bash it down. He doesn't scream through the door. He walks away and then he comes back and he knocks again. This time you open the door and he says, hey, I'm Jesus. I'd like to come in and talk with you. And if you say, nope, he says, okay.
Okay.
And if you say, yes, please, Jesus, will you come sit down and speak with me? Now, here's the key. When you can turn a conversation into that, then it's an invitation. If I want to talk to you about buying the purple car, and I tell you, we need to have this conversation, you're really important to me, I've got a lot of stuff figured out, I want to know your viewpoint, when is a good time for you? And you come back and you say, hey, Heather, could we talk about the purple car now? You're already invested. You're already moving in toward my conversation. We're already in agreement. And I hope the listeners will really resonate with that. You're already in agreement. That's going to be a whole different conversation than if I'm bringing something to you and you're not in agreement and I'm trying to shove it at you and you're not in agreement. And I'm pushing it at you and you're not in agreement. If you look for the places where you can join, where you can connect, where you have similarities, then you keep moving closer and closer and closer and closer. And 100% most times, there will be some places you do not line up. And then you'll be able to say, okay, so you're willing to talk with me. You know we need a car. You know we're going to spend $10,000 and you don't want purple. Okay, but we're going to get a car. We need to get a car. We have $10,000. We're going to buy it soon. What about the color do you not like? And then it's not, I want the purple Hyundai and you say, I want the green Subaru, and you're split. That's such a key for communication, to get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer.
And on that note, what is a lie that destroys these relationships?
That if it's been a relationship that's been on for a while, that I believe that you no longer want to love me. The truth is, if you ask anybody in a relationship, they do want to love the person forever,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to be loved forever. And someone stops doing that. And if we didn't, our relationships might not stay, intensely close, but we would always look at the person with love. So if I'm in a relationship with you and I start to get a little insecure, instead of saying, hey, like, Yancy, what's going on? Are we all right? If I look at you and think, oh no, oh no, she likes Susie better. Damn it. She likes Susie. She doesn't see that I'm amazing. She's pulling away from me. I'm probably going to lose her as a friend. She's probably not going to really like me anymore. Then the next time I see you, I'm either adversarial or I'm super scared. Now, you won't know what's going on because maybe you were just busy or you had a headache, or maybe you like Susie better. I don't know. But you're going to start to respond to me withdrawing. And you're going to be like, that was weird. Heather was super distant. Huh. Felt uncomfortable. Like she's judging me or something. What's going on with her? I didn't like our conversation. You know what? I think I'm going to give her a little bit of space right now. I don't know what's going on in her life, but I don't want to be a part of it. And the split happens. And we do it all the time. We assume out of fear. It's so much better just to ask. Hey, it felt a little different right there. Was there something that I said that made you uncomfortable? Or did I lose you? There's an exercise I give my clients, which is gold, which is if they're in a relationship, I say, near the end of the day, ask your partner. And it can be your child, it can be your boss, it can be a friend. Can't really be a dog because they're not going to respond, but something that can respond.
Oh.
Say, did I miss you somewhere today? Was there someplace I didn't come through for you? And could I try to rectify that now? And then you say, and where did you feel the most loved by me? Or the most seen? Or the most wanted? Would you like a little bit more now? Then every single day, you're cleaning up the gunk and you're cultivating more connection, more love, hopefully a little bit more fun. And then your partner can't ever say, you didn't try, you didn't work on it, you shove stuff under the rug, you don't communicate, you don't want to love them. It takes 5 minutes. Did I miss you somewhere today, or did I not come through for you? And can I resolve that now? And where did you feel the closest? Where did you feel the most loved by me? And if your answer is, I kind of didn't, then say, oh, then let's do it now. Let me love you right now. I'm a widow. My God, I would love to have somebody in my life who would say that to me each day. I mean, wouldn't that be lovely? That's so beautiful. And it's so easy. I tell all my clients to do that. And when they come back in the door, I can see it. I'm like, oh, you've been doing the homework. And they're like, yeah. Like, yeah, you can see it. When you've got somebody in your life who loves you and wants to be with you and wants to help you, dear Lord, everything else is easier. And so many people are in relationship and they're not letting themselves be blessed by it. And they're not choosing to be a blessing by it. So silly. It's so silly. I used to say to my husband, thank you for choosing me today. Thank you for choosing me today. He didn't have to, but he did. And on the days where I kind of wished he wouldn't, and there were those too, I'd say to myself, driving home. Remember you love him. Remember you love him. Remember you love him. This is just a prickly patch. You're going to work on it. And it was so important because I'd walk in the door and I'd be like, hey, babe, I'm home. Instead of, hi, I'm here. If you let yourself, and even with yourself, we can have the most extraordinary intimacy if we want it. There's a lot of people who don't. That's okay. They're just not going to resonate with me, and that's okay. I'm not everyone's flavor, but a lot of people want intimacy. A lot of people want to be loved. I used to cuddle up in my husband's arms each day, and we'd look into each other's eyes. And for 5 minutes, we wouldn't have any business talk. Wasn't about what happened at work, what happened with the kids, how much is the visa bill? None of that gobbledygook. We would just look into each other's arms, and I would just say, oh, thank you for being here with me. And we would just be partners. And we would just embrace and hold each other. And what was so amazing about it is if he and I were tense, my daughter would say to us, do you need to go do that thing you do in the bedroom? And my husband would say, that's kind of sick, isn't it? I'm like, it's beautiful. Because if we didn't do it, he'd come home, we'd sit down to dinner, and we'd chit chat, because that's what we do. We're like in our little business mode. Pass the salt, sure, babe. How was your date? Was good. If we'd done our little thing, which I called the position, we'd go out to the dinner table and he'd say, baby, would you pass the salt? And I'd say, yeah, because we were connected. And we all want to be connected. There's 8 billion people in the world. Dear God, we want to connect.
Yeah.
And yet it's so hard for us simply because we don't take the time to do it. And then we think the other person doesn't want it. I had a glorious moment with my daughter a little while back. My kids and I are super close. And I reached out to her, and we've had a really good relationship. And I said, I realized I can receive your love more deeply. And she said, wow, Mom, what happened for you to realize that? I said, nothing. Like Yancy, I'm just being aware that I can receive love more deeply. And for that, I know I can give you love more deeply. And she said, that's cool. I said, yeah. She said, am I going to know it when it happens? And I said, 100%. 100%. So when we get together, I'll look at her and I'll smile, and she goes, oh, it's right now, huh? And I'm like, and I gaze into her gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous eyes, and she gazes into mine, and our souls dance. And then she goes, and then before we leave, we do our little hugs goodbye. And I always do this. It's probably because my husband died of a heart attack. My mom killed herself. I always go for a one more kiss, a one more hug. I always take a little bit more, go up to her car, and I say, one more second. She's like, yeah. And then we have one more beautiful moment, and then she drives off. And if God forbid that's the last moment I see her, something blessed happened to me at a horrible moment. So when I was going to run off, I was taking my son to the eye appointment, and my husband and I did a real quick little pack. Thank you, God. I said to him, is that all? And he said, you want more? I'm like, yeah, I want more. So we had this beautiful, beautiful, passionate kiss. Ran out the door, took back to the orthodontist, come back an hour later, find my husband dead of a heart attack. When my daughter came home, we had to pull her off the lifeguard tower at work. I didn't want to tell her what was going on. So I just said, just come home. And so when we came home, she said, do you remember your last moment with Daddy? And I was able to say, now here's a gift, listeners. I hope this touches you because it touches me. I know in the last second that I had to give my husband in his life, I loved him. Now that was the last second I could give him. And the reason it's so important for me in doing that in life, and why I really strive on goodbyes to make them sweet and tender, is the day my mom killed herself, I had said, "I love you, mommy." My sister was angry with her and left the house not talking with her. Now, my mom's death was not my sister's responsibility at all, but it was hard for her. It was hard for her that in that last moment she hadn't given her love, because it didn't help. And it was also hard for her that her last memory of our mom wasn't in love. So, people around you aren't gonna die all the time. However, you don't know. And so it's kind of that saying, "Don't go to bed angry," which I don't completely agree with, because sometimes I think it's better to stop talking than to keep on
Yeah.
going at it when it's
Yeah.
bad. However, there is a place of trying to leave some love before you separate. We do not recognize the beauty in entrances and exits. We've lost it in this world, and they're glorious. They're glorious places of celebrating someone that you love, and you're so happy to see them again. And then in leaving, to say, "Gosh, I wish you the very best. I will miss you. I can't wait to see you again." We don't really celebrate people as much as we could, or relationships as much as we could. That's why there's infidelity. We forget to see the person as a gift to ourselves. We forget to think that they're special or precious or wonderful. And then we just start to think, yeah, I'd like something new. This is getting kind of old. I deserve better than this. We put it upon the other to not, that we're not pleased. And then we do things against the other in retaliation, instead of saying, "What's going on that I no longer love you?" I heard a guy in a podcast. Can I cuss on here? Is that okay?
Oh,
Or okay.
yeah.
So he was talking about his girlfriend, and he said she was amazing. Like, she was incredible. She was kind, and she was sweet, and she was fun, and she was playful, and she was so damn sexy. And I have turned her into the biggest bitch. And it's kind of went, what? But I thought about it, and I thought, power to him. He didn't put it completely on her, and he went home and he apologized. He said, "I don't know what the hell that I have done that has done this, but dear God, I'm not helping you be your best, and I wanna help you be your best." And they made it. She didn't wanna be a bitch. She wanted to be adored. She wanted to be loved. She wanted him to see her as being sexy. But there's that place of, "Well, how am I looking at you?"
Yeah.
This is such a key, and it's one of the reasons why in communication, I say, like, "What's the outcome that you're wanting?" You can predetermine something. Law of manifestation, law of attraction. We predetermine. So if I were to tell you, you go outside the door right now and someone who loves you is outside the door, you're gonna run out that door. You're gonna be so excited. You're gonna be so happy. I will have changed your energetic field and your thought process, your feelings. If I tell you someone who hates you, who's about to attack you is outside the door, you're going out very differently. Now, the truth is, the situation hasn't changed, but I've changed the way you view the situation. It's super important. If you want something to go well, speak into that. When I have an important interview, before I go in, I'm like, "Oh, this is going to be amazing. It's going to be great. I'm going to shower love on them, and I'm going to learn so much from them. And if I stumble, we're going to be gracious with each other. I can't wait to do this." I don't go in thinking, "Oh, what if I screw up? What if they don't like me? What if it goes bad? What if I blow it?" I don't. When I meet someone, I go in with the idea of, I hope we love each other. Like, what if we do? Wouldn't that be cool? If we don't, okay. Okay. But I hope we do. And you will be amazed how things change because of that. Because you're opening yourself up for magic. You're opening yourself up for incredible opportunities. And people resonate with that. When you meet someone who's like, "I want to know you. Are we going to be great friends?" Versus, "Yeah, prove yourself to me. I don't know. Kind of busy." It's up to us to decide, what kind of life do you want to live? And making that happen is largely up to you. Other people will respond. We do something that's so weird. We go into the world and want the world to define us. That's just stupid. You might think I'm ugly, dumb, mean, pointless, an idiot, narcissistic. Who the hell knows what you're going to think? But if I let you define me, I lose myself. So I've taken a lot of time to like accept who I am. And then I go into the world and I look for places where people have common interests and they want to explore, or different interests, but can do so with respect.
Mm-hmm.
It came from a situation when I was 18. I was in New York and I was standing on a street corner. I was 6'1" then. I'm six foot now because I've shrunk in my 60 years. But I was 6'1" and I had been really tall since I was 12. And I was standing on the street corner and there were four either Russian or German men around me. And I looked up, which I hadn't in years, and I went, "Oh, I'm small." And then these towering men stepped off the street corner and I became the Amazon once again. But my brain went, this is really important. So I thought about it and I thought, okay, what's important about this? My environment changed my reality of me. I am 100% not small, 100% not small. I'm giant even for men. But in that moment, I was smaller. If we let our environment dictate who we are, it might not be the truth. If I go into a room of 23-year-old beauty queens and they say, you have to pick someone in here who's the most ugly, guess who they are picking? 100% it's me. 100%. But I'm not ugly, or at least I don't think I'm ugly, but I will be the ugliest. And think about that. If you cling to that, now your view of yourself is different. But if I know for a 60-year-old woman, I'm attractive. Then when I go into a room of 23-year-old supermodels, I'm going to be like, Heather, you're in a room of 23-year-old supermodels. Like, there's no comparison here, baby girl. It's a different situation. But we let the world define us and then we lose ourselves completely. And
Yeah,
that's so sad.
it is.
That's why there's so much competition. That's why there's so much hatred. Because I'm going to let you be the definition of me, and I don't like this in you, so I'm going to fight against it. If I just own who I am, I don't need to fight against you. Of course you're different. Of course you're different, whether it's your skin or your gender or your age or your belief or your intellect or your diet. Of course you're different. You're not me.
Mm-hmm.
And I am different from you. And what's to say my different from you is any better than you're different than me? It's just different. There is no better or worse other than our perception of it. I'd love to go into an ice cream store and say, there used to be Baskin Robbins 31 flavors around me. And I always wanted to go in and say, what's the best flavor? They have 31. Why? Different choices. Somebody loves Cherry's Jubilee. Not me. Spumoni. Somebody loves Spumoni. Not me. I'm going to go for the Rocky Road.
Always.
Ah, I'm going to go for the Jamocha almond fudge.
I did wanted to ask, you have said some hardcore stuff of part of your life. How do you cultivate joy?
I am blessed. I really am. I'm blessed that I think that that was given to me in the womb. I think God just said, little one, this life is going to be pretty hard and pretty brutal, and you're going to be on your own a lot. And so you are just going to have it in your veins. So part of it is just who I am. I'm so fortunate to rev high and to be able to be really positive. And I work on it. I don't like to use the word work. I cultivate it every day. Every day I sit in gratitude. Every day I sit in appreciation. I remember when COVID hit and I couldn't see my kids because of COVID, couldn't date because of COVID, couldn't see my friends because of COVID, couldn't see my clients live because of COVID. So all of a sudden, I'm at home by myself, Zooming everything. And I thought, oh Lord, this is not going to be easy for me. And so I remember thinking, you've got to walk a lot or bike ride a lot and just be out in the sunshine, whether you can't talk with people, just wave to people, but like you need to be engaging. And there was one day, it was a dark day, and I went on like a 3-hour bike ride. I came back to the house exhausted, laid on the grass. I did not want to go into my home. And I laid on my grass and I was just like, oh, and I turned my head to the side and I saw the bottom of a rose. And I have really pretty roses. And it was like watercolored. It was pink with red. It had the stripe and the green from the stem thing, whatever it's called. I'm not a botanist, was like brushed into it. I'm like, that's pretty. So I went over and looked at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. I smelt the bottom of the rose to see if you could get the fragrance from the bottom, not nearly as much. I went and looked at all the rose bottoms in my yard, and all of a sudden I'm fascinated. My daughter's an artist. I get her on FaceTime. I'm like, have you ever looked at the bottom of a rose? And she's like, oh my God, Mom. No, like, do you want to? And she's like, of course I do. So I take her on the journey of the bottom of our rose butt bottoms. And at the end of the call, she said, you are having the best day. And I was so about to say, oh no, God, it was awful. And I went, I am. Thank you for sharing it with me. Really important truth. When we're feeling really low, when we're feeling really blue, what do you do to distract you from that and to find something to focus on? Remember, there was one time I woke up and it wasn't going to be a good day unless I did something, and I had to see clients. And I laid in my bed and I'm like, oh God, help me, help me, help me, help me. Like, I just want to go to bed and not wake up. And so I'm cuddling with my blanket, which is super soft all over me. And I'm covering, like, just cover me, blanket, just cover me, like, just take me away, blanket, just take me away. And I'm holding it down on my face. And I went, God, I'm so glad I have you, blanket. I'm so glad I have you because you're so warm and you're so soft. Blanket, you're so warm and you're so soft and you feel so good on me. And I'm so glad I'm cuddled in my bed. Oh, I have a bed. Oh, I have a bed. Thank you that I have a bed, and thank you that I have this blanket, and thank you that I'm laying in my bed and I'm laying with this blanket and it's soft and it's warm. And then I heard a bird and I went, oh, thank you that I have ears. Thank you that I have ears that I could hear the bird. And then I put down my blanket to see if I could see it. And I saw the window and I went, oh, thank you for the window. And then I saw the bird, like, thank you for the bird. Thank you for my warm blanket. Thank you for my bed. Thank you for this morning and that I have time for this. Thank you that I have ears to hear the bird and I have eyes to see the bird and I have a window to see through, and there's the bird. And then the wind chimes blew and I went, oh, thank you for my wind chimes. And then my eyes went over to my daughter's painting because she's beautiful paintings. And I went, thank you for my daughter. Thank you for her paintings. But thank you for my blanket and thank you for my bed and thank you for warmth and thank you that I have ears and thank you that there's birds and that they call out and that I have a window that I can look out and I can see them. And then as I see them flying, I can see my wind chime blowing in the wind because wind is glorious and I can hear it. And then right there is my daughter's painting oh, my daughter is glorious. And look what she painted to me. And I can't wait to get out of this bed and go celebrate today. And so I'll do it. I'll do a little let's be grateful, thankful, appreciation rampage. And I'll do it anywhere. I'll do it in my car. I'll sit in my car and it's terrible traffic and I'm going to be late and I'm all pissed off and angry and I'm hungry and I have to pee. And I'll say, you know what? Thank God I'm not in like Siberia right now. I'm in a warm car and I'm sitting. I'm not even standing. When you have to pee, sitting's a whole lot better. I'm crossing my legs and I'm sitting in traffic and I'm in my car and I am safe and I am protected and I've got somewhere to go, and just let yourself rampage to get you out of that dark place. It's not going to change all the crap in your life, but you're not focused on it in that moment. And when you're not completely focused on what's so hard and so terrible, then you can deal with what is so hard and so terrible a little bit better. If all you focus on is like, life is horrid, oh man, it's going to be hard for you. So help yourself in those places. You got to deal with reality. You have to. When my husband died, my husband was dead. I had to deal with all of those feelings. but it was also important in moments to not just fixate on it because it was just so painful. I remember going to the beach the day after because we love the beach and it was awful. We were crying, and going to the beach when you're crying is like so bad. And I remember driving home and saying to my kids, "Did it help?" And they both went, "Nah." Like, yeah. And then my son said, "But it didn't make it worse.
Mm.
Looking at photos makes it worse." I'm like, okay. The best we could get was it didn't make it worse. But you know what? That's something to cling to. If today wasn't worse than yesterday, at least I'm not still going downhill. Because sometimes you are. And if you've already hit the bottom and you're staying even or starting to pull yourself out, it's important to recognize that. There's a phrase, 4 steps ahead and falling 2 steps back. And then people say, like, you know, it doesn't matter because, I took 2 steps, but I fell back too. And I say, oh, but there's progress there. And they're like, no, there's not. I fell back. I'm like, yeah, you did for sure. But you also moved forward 4.
Yeah.
Fell back 2. There's not a whole bunch of progress there, but there's some.
Just
And
a
it's
little
important.
bit. That's all you need.
It's all you need.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Where
You're
can
welcome.
my listeners find you?
My website's the easiest. So it's www.drheatherbrowne, DRHEATHERBROWNE.com, Dr. Heather Browne. And on that, you'll see there's a link to my book. You can watch my TEDx. I've got workshops and programs and how to work with me. I have a whole bunch of freebies. I have a whole page of freebies. So just go and enjoy. If there's questions you have, I'm happy to try to answer them. So pop me an email or pop on my newsletter. I'm happy to help out if I can.
I love that. Thank you so much and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
What are you grateful for?
Mm. I'm grateful for the fact that I get to have this life. I think it's the most amazing gift. It can be really, really hard, but I get to live. And as I get closer and further in my life, I realize at some point that's not going to be given to me anymore. And so as much as possible, I really try to treasure that. And obviously, I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity to share love and to share joy and to share hope and the amazing magic and power that is cultivated in doing that with others and when others want to do it with you. So, yeah, the essence of being alive. I'm very grateful for it.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Conversations with Francy. You can find it in all major platforms as well as my YouTube channel. I will have all the links, social media, and everything of the guests in the description of the episode. Hope you have a blessed day. Bye bye.